Hello YouTube, this is Asatsu5 and this is going to be an impressions video over the Spyderco Dodo. This is the Spyderco Dodo, and I was first introduced to this knife by Cutlery Lover. There are certain knives I associate with different people. With Cutlery Lover it would be the Dodo, the Cricket, and the Bowie Spike neck knife. And with Nothing Fancy it's the Delica and the Victorinox Cadet. And really, I guess my brother would be like the K-Bar and the Voyager and the Tough Light. So it's just funny how I associate different people with different knives. And this is the Blade HQ exclusive with Jade G10, serrated, and M4 CPM M4 steel. You know, first off, it's a weird looking knife. And you can, you know, kind of drop it like that. But there's some things I noticed about it, and some things that I like, and some things I don't like. Overall, I think it's a cool knife. It has that reverse S, and it's a cool EDC knife. I haven't used this knife a lot. I have used it, but I'm not planning on using this thing until it's completely dull and then reviewing it. And I'll tell you why. It's mostly about the steel. I'm super afraid of using the M4 steel in my work environment. My work environment's very sweaty, very hot and humid, and I don't want to get rust on it. And I thought, well, usually when I get a high carbon steel blade, I force a patina on it. And I don't have any plans to sell it right now, but this is kind of a collector's piece. It's kind of a, you know, an oddity. And sometimes when I want a new gun, I sell a knife. And so, as far as I know, I plan on keeping this knife. But if there's a gun that I want, and there's at least two guns that I want, and if I have the ability to buy it, I'd like to buy it. Both of them are Tauruses, by the way, Tauruses. As of right now, I plan on keeping it. I think it's a cool knife. It's a very unique looking knife. It's called the Dodo, and that is because this looks like a dodo's beak. It's an extinct bird. Went extinct in the 16th, 17th century, I believe, due to hunting and invasive species brought over by Europeans. I think in the Madagascar, East Africa area. I could be wrong. I need to check my facts, but that's not really what this knife's what this video is about. The video is about the knife, and just know that the Dodo is an extinct bird, sadly, that extinct due to human intervention, or if you want to call it intervention, human activity. And but I love the blade shape, and I love that it looks exactly like a Dodo. You have the eyeball in the hole, you have the beak, and I think that's awesome. Spyderco used to have a ad that had a bunch of animals on it, and it said, "All God's creatures have knives," and you know, it is referring to teeth and claws and stuff. And I thought it was a cool ad, and this kind of fits that motif. It's not very fidgetable. This ball bearing lock I find to be slightly uncomfortable to bring back and close. Usually I close it two-handed, but like it can be a little bit difficult to grab this ball. You might call me a pansy, but it's not like an ultra lock or an axis lock. It's not as fidget friendly. It usually fires out pretty good, but usually I have to use two hands. You can sling it out. And I have actually, you got to be careful where you have your fingers when you want to close it with the, you know, like that. Because I did have it come and bite me like that. But it's an odd looking knife. Has a lot of curves that are not really common in the knife world. And I like this. It's pretty thin and has the wire clip. And not only that, check this out. Made in Golden, Colorado, Earth. And I'm glad they'll start making knives on Earth. And that's a joke that never gets old with me. But some things that should be considered is that this knife feels very comfortable in this position. You're not really going to use it like that. I suppose you could grab it like this and it feels very comfortable. In fact, I think it feels more comfortable like this than upright. But the way that this point comes out, you're probably not going to use it like a karambit. It's just not really practical for that. But as an EDC knife, I think it's a cool knife. And for those of you who like M4, it's probably a must-have. But this thing's really good at zipping through, opening up packages and boxes and stuff. I find it's not too good for cleaning fingernails. That's something I do. Not everybody does that. And point geometry is really keen on if that's a good knife to do that. And usually the very pointy knives are not the best for that. But it's very comfortable. Some people say this knife was designed in the dark to see if it's going to be a comfortable ergonomic knife. I'm very glad that they didn't put jimping on it. I don't really care for jimping these days, and I think that most knives don't need it. You can put your thumb here, or you can put it right here, but I think this is the perfect spot for it right here. And you got your pointer finger that goes in this finger choil. These two fingers come in this secondary choil. Then you got this little tail, and it just feels really good. It feels good like this, and you can use it like that, but most people pinch their knives when they're opening up stuff. And I think it's a really cool knife. Like, I just think it's cool. Not ugly, not, ugly at all. There's many things I like about it. And honestly, I would much rather have this in S30V, or what I would really like is a Salt Series version of this knife. I think that would be really cool to have a version of this knife that's made out of H1 or the NC whatever steel that I'm just now messing with. It's on the Pacific Salt 2. I can't remember what it is. I'll have to annotate it in. But I'd love to have a Delica in a stainless configuration. Now, to be fair, I don't know if this lock will do good in the sand. You have a spring right here, and then the ball bearing, and things have to move just right without getting clogged. And just to show you how that lock works, the ball pushes back, and there's going to be a little groove that it slides into right there. And it's locked solid. Personally, I like compression locks and liner locks better. The triad lock's also cool. And something that is pretty cool with this knife, let's see, let me get it oriented. Since this is a limited edition, it has a birthday on it. I'm assuming it's a birthday. It says 2/22/8 or B. I think it's 2/22B. Now, I don't know what the B stands for. If someone knows, please let me know. But this seems to be made in the second month of the 2022 year. So that's cool. Good information to have. It kind of makes it a little bit more special. I mentioned this reverse S blade shape. And this is what you find on the Matriarch, the Civilian, the Cricket, and the Dodo. And Cold Steel has actually came out with the Black Talon and the Black Talon 2, and it shares a similar blade shape. And Cold Steel and Thompson acknowledges that they got permission from Spyderco to make it. And this is just a side notification. If you like to study the Sakatripa's fighting system, this would probably be your best knife to practice, or not practice with, but to use with this system. This system uses the Sakatripas, and this is the curved end right there. And you hold it like this, and you fight edge up. It's very counterintuitive, but these knives originally didn't have locking mechanisms. They were friction folders, and some of them had. I don't know if you call it a friction fold, but I don't have another name for this locking mechanism, so I'm going to call it a friction fold. But it has like a hole and a leather thong, and you hold the leather thong right here, but it doesn't really have a lock, and you cut upwards or to the sides, and there was a lot of manipulation and stuff that's going on. And so if you have this Roots in the Lone Star book and you want to study northern Texas, or northern Mexico, southern West Texas, or border Texas martial arts, I'd say this would be a good analog to use that with. You can hold it and you can do some similar things, but in all honesty, you don't have to be an expert to use a civilian, a matriarch, or a black talon. Don't believe what James Keating says about that. This thing was designed to be simple, gross motor tools and just slashing, getting things done. And you don't have to be a martial artist to actually use it. And while we're talking on reverse S knives, I've actually heard a story, and the Cricket has a blade similar to this size, but just a different handle. But I've heard a story of a woman who was being assaulted in Houston, and she used a Cricket to save her life and to escape. And she basically turned the man's abdomen into hamburger meat. I don't know if this is an urban legend. This is something I heard in the knife shop in Houston, that this woman was carrying a Cricket, and a guy grabbed her and was trying to make off with her, and she just, did that, basically. And so to me, that's kind of what you're supposed to do with the black talon or the matriarch or civilian. You're supposed to just, slash and get as much cuts in as possible. Of course, you can use technique with it, footwork and targeting and stuff. But I wouldn't recommend plucking tendons or anything like that. That's just ridiculous. But you can also just
insert and pop tendons in various places quite easily and lay them back. Okay, it does contour nicely, as I said, if you want to make that action to get here. It would work better in the hammer grip like this, so that you could make the full cut if you were using it as a scalping weapon.
But if you like the ideal of a American martial arts or Mexican martial art, Western martial art, and you want a knife that is like, okay, I want to study this and actually be able to use it, I think the black talon is the way to go. Also, when it comes to these reverse S blade shapes, since I don't have a karambit nearby, I'll use this. But a lot of times with a karambit, it bunches up right here. You don't get a lot of cutting from here to here, and it bunches up. And it's kind of hard to cut. And that's a relative term. But it's, it just kind of bunches up and builds up a lot of pressure, and then it'll actually push through instead of slice through. And with reverse S's, you have this kind of belly right here. And so it starts slicing right here, and then it cuts a little bit easier than an actual karambit. And when I say that, I'm talking about rope generally. Karambits, reverse S's are good for opening up boxes and opening up bad people. But for cutting rope, I think the reverse S is a superior blade shape to the hawkbill or the karambit. So that's my video. I hope you enjoy it. I'm a Satsu 5, and I'm out.